Okay, let's try this again. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of On the Mark. I'm your host, Mark Brantley, and it is the first show after Culturama 50. And I'm pretty sure that as we get into it, there'll be some conversation about Culturama 50. But the best news, the very best news that I got this morning as I woke was a report from the police to say that Culturama 50 was incident and accident free. Those words were like music to my ears. The Culturama this year, the big 50th anniversary of our cultural festival, was incident and accident free. Praise be to God. I want to congratulate our security forces. I want to thank all of our patrons and the persons who participated, whether you driving on the roads, the way you conducted yourself at the shows, Juve, Last Lap, whatever it was. Our people behaved responsibly, and I say thank you for that. It is a marvelous thing for us in today's age to say that our cultural festivities, with the thousands and thousands of people who attended the shows and were on the streets and out and about partying, that it was incident free and it was accident free. If that language doesn't appeal to some, let me just tell you, there was no criminality, there were no major incidents or accidents of any kind, and it means therefore that our people responded to our cries to conduct themselves responsibly, and I am exceedingly proud of everyone. I want to thank the people who came in from overseas, our brothers and sisters who would have come from all over the globe, from the United Kingdom, the United States, from Canada, from the US Virgin Islands, St. Martin, Anguilla, you name it. They were home in their numbers, and I thank them for coming. You know, ladies and gentlemen, when we made this call, we sat as a cabinet and we said we wanted to have Culturama 50. We know it was a huge year. We, however, said, what more can we do? And we came up with the idea of the Nevis Homecoming, where we decided to invite Nevisians to come home, to have their family reunions, to come see friends and family, some who may not have come for a very long time. And I am amazed, absolutely amazed and happy at the way our people responded. Our people came from the four corners of the globe. They came all the way to Nevis to enjoy each other, enjoy family, enjoy friends, have family reunions. I went to so many different functions of families having reunions on the island. The Jeffers family, the Huggins family, the Wards, the Prentices. There were so many different families having reunions. Villages, church ground and others, I'm told, had reunions. Persons got together in different ways, in different fora, all across Nevis. And they filled our hotels, they filled our restaurants, they filled our bars. They rented all the cars that were there to be rented in Nevis. In fact, hundreds of cars came over from St. Kitts. And as I mentioned St. Kitts, let me thank the people of St. Kitts, our brothers and sisters across the water, because they responded in record numbers to Nevis for Culturama 50. And so I say thank you to all who made that possible. I know the Honorable Eric Evelyn. I'm not sure if he has done so yet, but I do know he has intentions to make a formal address, when of course he will get into that, because truly it is his ministry. He is the Minister of Culture. In fact, some say he's Mr. Culture. And the truth be told, I know he put his heart and soul into it. When I saw Eric one evening, I said, Eric, are you tired? And he says yes, because he has been going non-stop to every event. And I'm so happy that he was able to experience this level of success, and that Culturama 50 is one for the books. No, there are some out there who wanted perfection, but we didn't expect perfection. We wanted a cultural extravaganza, a cultural showcase that we could all be proud of. And I think based on all of the feedback that I've had, Culturama 50 was a successful Culturama, that we catered to our patrons in a way that they enjoy themselves immensely. And of course, the naysayers will do what they do best. They're going to naysay. That is their nature, and that is what they have to do. But I find it remarkable that virtually all of the negatives I've heard have come from the opposition in Nevis. Not even for Culturama, it seems, can they just get together and celebrate as Nevisians. Sometimes I wonder whether we're Nevisian first or we're political party first. because even as people were gathered here, commixing and commingling, people were getting together, people were going to church together, people were going to events, cocktail events and various types of events. The opposition here was putting up billboards, trying to persuade people that what they seen wasn't real. And that is the irony. What they seen wasn't real. People are seeing the improvements to Nevis. People are not blind. So people are driving on brand new roads. They're saying, oh my goodness. One gentleman said to me, I was here last year and this was not here. This was not finished, or that was not finished. I've come back now and it is here. People who went down to Pinnis Beach, they saw the MGR Park, they saw the water taxi facility, they saw the new police station in Newcastle, the new Treasury building in Charlestown. They see what we have done at Bath Stream. They see roads in Brownhill and Bath Village and Braziers and Shaw's Road and the Island Main Road and Gingerland Hanley's Road. Roads of Rollins. They see roads, basketball courts. They see all of the infrastructure that has happened on this island. They were able to see it for themselves. And one chap said to me, he said, you know, I live overseas. I've not been home in 6 years. He said, I listen to all the radio stations because I want to hear all sides. I listen to all the talk shows. And he said, the dialogue and the narrative that Nevis was this desperate, desolate place. Nothing was happening here. Nevis was a wasteland. He said that the way that that story is told so compellingly, when he landed, he said the first thing he saw was the water taxi. And when he came into the water taxi facility, he said, no man, something wrong. Got to be to bring him to the wrong island. Then he said he drove from there and he drove on the Island Main Road. He said, no man, something wrong. And he went into Brownhill and he said he got confused. He took the road from Brownhill, the new bypass that we made to go down to the Cherry Gardens, the Mondo track, and onto the Long Point Road. And from there he said he found himself in Bath Village, where he got lost. Got lost in Bath because he could not recognize what he was seeing. And so we have now a situation where those who have been peddling a constant narrative of negativity are now confronted with people coming home for their own purposes, to celebrate Culturama, to be with family, etc., but now seeing for themselves. And you know what they say? Seeing is believing. So all this trippiness about money wasting and this not done and that not done and the other not done, people were now able to see for themselves, to experience for themselves. I was down at Pinnis, not the Pinnis Park, but the area below that we've just opened up. And someone, again a returning national, said to me that this reminded him of some area, he said, in Tampa, Florida. An area that he loved with the restaurants. He said this is so attractive, so welcoming. He did not feel like he was in Nevis. And I took that as a compliment, because I said, you know, for people coming home to comment so highly and so favorably, and to say that the development that they're seeing on their island is such that they don't even feel like it's Nevis, because it's not the Nevis that they left. And it's not saying it in a bad way, it's saying it in a very good way. They are impressed with what they're seeing. So how are you going to tell a man who's standing up outside in the hot sun, feeling the sun on his face, looking up and having to shield his eyes from the sun, that rain will fall, or that the night is dark? You see, that is the problem when you try to fool people. And you've been trying to fool people for so long that people now say, no, my eyes don't lie. I can see for myself. And if you realize, you know, CCM stayed out of the politicking for Culturama. That was a decision that we took. Because we said, listen, Culturama at the end of the day is for all of us. Whoever you support or don't support is neither here nor there. It is our Culturama. We want everyone to come out and feel comfortable and support the shows and support the events, and people came out in their numbers. In the band, wherever they were, they came out in their numbers. And some of them jamming with their face vex because they jam too sweet. Some people, I'm persuaded, were praying and hoping that something would go wrong. Water would go off, electricity would black out, something would go wrong. And praise be to God that the events went off. Yes, I know that there were some hitches in terms of management, stage management, etc. One or two of the events went unduly long. But the quality of the events in terms of the young people and what the young people brought, the performances were all excellent. And I just want to say how proud I am as a Nevision first, and as Premier of Nevis second, as Head of Cabinet third, that we were able to deliver a Culturama 50 to remember. Now, Minister Evelyn has said to me that he would want to engage in a public post-mortem because we recognize that there is always and will always be room for improvement. And so we expect that that will happen, and that where we can tighten up and improve and do better for next year, we will continue. It has to be a continuous process. But I will say, ladies and gentlemen, that when I attended some of the shows and I saw the improvements in the cultural village and the cultural complex, just tonight there is a play that is being performed at NEPAC. I wonder if some people understand that we could not do anything at NEPAC because NEPAC entire roof was leaking, that the electrical at NEPAC was no good, the sewage at NEPAC was no good, and that we had to revamp, the AC was not working, that we had to spend a considerable amount of money to ensure that tonight there is a local theatre production at NEPAC. You see, many of us sit aside and we criticize, and that's okay. We live in a democracy, and I always say that our democracy at times is quite raucous because everybody has an opinion. Whether it's an informed opinion or it is ill-informed, people are entitled to their opinions. But as I heard some of the commentary, the criticisms that were leveled, oh, we're fixing up NEPAC, we're fixing up the cultural village, we're fixing up the cultural complex, as if that was a mortal sin. For us to say it is Culturama 50. Let us give our venues a facelift. Let us improve our venues so that we'll have better comfort for our patrons. And I went to the Emancipation show in the cultural village, and every single individual that I encountered, including many from St. Kitts who had come over, commented on how amazed they were at what had happened at the cultural village, how it had been transformed. Similarly at the cultural complex, the work that was done, the improvements to the booths. We, ladies and gentlemen, invested because we knew that people were coming home. We knew that this was a significant milestone for Culturama, and we invested accordingly. We did not just do that. There was, I think, one of the more important things that happened during the festival is that the cultural complex was renamed the NEDAX Cultural Complex. And simple as that may look, it is now a permanent monument to NEDAX, that organization which spearheaded the creation and for many years the survival of our Culturama. And so it's almost as if we were going down a road and ticking the boxes, and I think all the right boxes were ticked. And unfortunately, that ticked off some people. Some people got upset. And I marvel at it all the time. And I say it, and you've heard me say it before. Do some people hate Nevis? Because you could be opposed to a government but still love your island and your country. And I ask again, do some people hate Nevis? Because some of the times I feel that in a misguided effort to think that they're scoring a political point, and truth be told, 90% of the time I am the target. So they want to get at me. I may not be the minister responsible for agriculture, but I assure you, if something happens in agriculture, they'll come at me. I may not be the minister responsible for public works, but I assure you, whenever there's a pothole, they will come at me. And that's okay. I believe at the end of the day, as I always say, that's why we have elections. And the electorate decides on those matters. And the electorate, praise be to God, has consistently said, we don't want to argue. So it means whatever they have been doing has been working quite well for me. And I am grateful to them for that. But when I look at the willingness to amplify anything and everything that will make our island look bad, and downplay anything and everything that will make us look good, I just have to marvel. I really have to marvel. Because to my mind, there are some things that we celebrate. Nevis was so full with our people, so happy to be home, to eat some Wilkes and breadfruit, some cornmeal and steamed fish, some goat water and conch water. People were happy to be here. People were not interested in any politics when they were here. People ain't want to hear who you vote for and who you don't vote for. Maybe they'll come back in time to vote. But I know, because I went around, I moved around relentlessly during the season, people were interested in seeing their island. Some of them told me they wanted to show off their island because some of them brought in-laws, family members, children, grandchildren, friends. That's what they were interested in. And some just could not say, let us leave the partisan politics aside for a mere 2 weeks, and let us instead engage with each other as Nevisians to put the best foot forward on behalf of our island. And I smile all the time. And I said so to somebody the other day. I said, you know, some of the criticisms that we have had as a government from those on the other side or sympathetic to the other side. We bring the water taxi pier, they cost that. We do the Malcolm Gishard Park, they cost that. We do the Pinneys improvements, they cost that. We do the village, the complex, NEPAC, everything we do, they cost that. But as I moved around, it really amused and bemused me that they use these facilities more than you and I. They not take pier in tongue anymore, you know. Water taxi every day. They're the first in the village. Up in the corporate boxes. They're the first in the complex. In VIP. They're at the restaurants. The very things that they condemn in their relentless pursuit to persuade people that nothing is going on the island. They partake of those things, use those things more than you and I. And so we sometimes just have to hear and not hear. Let something come through the sea and go out that year. Because truth be told, a lot of what is being peddled has no substance and has no resemblance, no familial connection, no kind of DNA of truth and veracity to it. Much of what is being said is, to put it bluntly, abject nonsense from people who do not understand development, no idea about development, And so when they see development happening, they scoff at it, they laugh at it. Let me tell you something. I sat at the cultural complex and I spoke to a gentleman. I won't call his name, but he told me that he had been away for 42 years. And he said to me that in all these years abroad, in the Virgin Islands, that St. Thomas VI has no established venue for carnival. He said a lot of the fetes and all of the things that they put together, they will do it like in a parking lot. Right next door in our sister St. Kitts, bigger, better resourced, far more money than we have over here in Nevis. There is no established venue for events. Anybody who's having an event will have to go in the park or up Kim Collins. Even the Music Fest, which is now 26 years old, I believe it is, there's no established venue for Music Fest. They constantly have to build up something in order to accommodate. Do the people of Nevis recognize that you could bring any fete to Nevis and just boom, plug and play? Plug and play, because the village is there. And that village can easily, in my view, accommodate 5,000 or 6,000 people. Plug and play. If you want a larger venue to accommodate 10,000, then we have the MGR Park. Again, plug and play. You want to put on a different kind of show? You have the cultural complex. Stage fully covered. Again, an investment that we made. Booths at the ready. Plug and play. You want to put on a theatrical production? A comedy show? Something in the performing arts, and you want a more intimate setting? NIPAC. NIPAC was not done by this government, but we have certainly spent a lot of money to repair, renovate, and put it back into good order. I say all that to say that there has been continual investment in the creative economy. That language has become popular nowadays, but long before that language was popular, government in Nevis was investing in creating the infrastructure to allow our creatives to flourish. And sometimes I wonder, what exactly more do we need to do? Some people have said, now Culture Army is over, I spend all that money up there, the complex and the village, nothing going to happen up there. And I'm saying that it is up to our people now, our creatives, to use those venues. And I have in my mind been toying with things, and I know sometimes that we say things and people in Nevis get upset very easily because a lot of us don't want to confront the reality of situations. We have a number of bands in Nevis, for example. I can think of Odyssey, Ultimate, Core, and I'm sure there are a few others. And I keep asking the question, the only times our bands can produce music is Culturama? Is that the only time? They're like Christmas once a year? And the reason I ask it is not that I'm being facetious. I'm asking that because I just saw something come out there for Small Axe Band, so they're going on tour all around the world, all in Europe, Small Axe Band going. And that's where I want to see the Nevis bands get to. Where they're going on tour, they are earning, they are having events, they can sell out a venue because people are coming to see them. And so I ask the question because I know in anything that we do, we cannot get good at it unless we stick to it. And we can't just come Culture Armor time and say, okay, let me dust off the speakers and thing and dust off the instruments and get going. We must be continually producing, putting stuff out there, getting our name out there. I have said, for example, at the Cultural Village, what a beautiful venue. Could you imagine if Odyssey, Core, Ultimate, Friends, Ivy, Greenhouse, all the bands were to decide, man, that we organize a band clash inside the village. But the village is there for you to use. Just make the call. We need the village next Saturday. That's why we built it. But it seems to me that everybody is waiting for the government to have something. The government must have it, because then the government must rent and pay for this, rent and pay for that, pay for that, pay for that, and then pay the band and pay. That's the thinking. But what about the creatives deciding, man, let us do something? So many DJs in Nevis. Man, let us put something together. Throw a big fete inside the village. Use the facility because it's there. And that's what it's built for. I am actually appealing to our people. This thing where you sit back, and then Culture Armor time, everybody start to cuss. Oh, me ain't get no gig. Oh, me ain't get enough gig. Oh, me ain't making enough money for Culture Armor. They ain't hiring me. And you ask the question sometimes, all right, you want to be hired. What are your songs that people know and people are going to come to jump up behind? That when you start to say whatever, people are going to sing with you. And the only way you can get that to that stage is, again, to professionalize what you do and to stick to it and be serious about it. And I want to emphasize that village, that complex, NIPAC, we are open for business. And I'm saying the same to creators on Sync It, you know. If you're listening, you have a show, you want to do a show, come over. We have the facilities available for you to do a show. I saw Cane Juice came up, they did Tropics. And based just on my observation, of course I'm not seeing their accounts, but the hundreds and hundreds of patrons that I saw there, it appeared a very successful event done at the MJR Park. I see another group has come with an event at the Botanical Gardens here each year from Sync It's a project, an event called Faded. Again, based on observations, these events look as if they are successful events. So if there are promoters and creatives on Sync It's who want to do something, I encourage them to come over. We have the facilities. As I say, it's plug and play. So ladies and gentlemen, I just want us to appreciate that as a government, we have not been just willy-nilly and approaching development in a haphazard way. We have been making investments which we are hoping will be long-term and bring long-term benefits to the people of Nevis. And our creative sector has had millions of dollars poured into infrastructure so that they can come. You want to do a dance recital, NIPAC is there. You want to do a theater production, NIPAC is there. You want to do a poetry recital, NIPAC is there. You want to have some songs and something intimate, NIPAC is there. You want to have a different kind of show, of some pageant or something, we have the cultural complex for you. You want to have a big jam, bring in an artist, do a big promotion, we have the villages available for you. The bands, you want to do a band clash, DJ clash, the village is there for you. You want an even larger event, the MJR Park is there for you. This little island, Nevis, these are investments that we are making in the entertainment sector, the orange economy, the creative sector, putting in infrastructure for our people to use. And it will be for our creatives to step up now. I can't sing, I can't dance, I can't play any instrument. I have serious limitations when it comes to the creative side of things. So, you who can, we are investing in you. And we've created the environment now, the infrastructure now, where you can benefit, ply your trade, and do well. And so I say that as a word of encouragement. I know some people may take it and say, well, I'm bashing or I'm being negative. I'm not. As a word of encouragement, we need to step up our game. And the government, in my view, is doing its part. The creatives now must do their part. I want to hear that from month to month we have action in Nevis because our people are stepping up. That is important. And as I say, they're promoters in St. Kitts. You want a venue? Come over. Step up, because that is what we're seeking to do, to empower our creative sector and provide an engine for growth and development in terms of our creative sector. I will leave that momentarily. I want to, of course, commend the Honorable Eric Evelyn for his excellent leadership for Culture Armor 50, for taking us through this period. I want to commend Abernathy Libert, who in many ways has become, if not the father, certainly the uncle of Culture Armor over the last 2 decades or so. He has been there and he has done well. I think we need to give Jack his jacket. He and I get at it all the time. But I need to be fair, he has done well. I want to commend Hughie Sargent, the permanent secretary in the ministry. Commend Colin Doerr, permanent secretary in the Ministry of Finance, because he had to pay the bills. And I know we have a lot of bills to pay, so I'm asking people, as always, to be patient with us. But there was a core group, the Culture Armor Committee, and the chairs of the various subcommittees. And I want to say something tonight, ladies and gentlemen, because I've seen, of course, people pop up, many having a lot of negatives. Some offering constructive criticism, but many offering destructive criticism. And one of the things that I've heard and continue to hear is, oh, they need to fire the committee. Committee need young people. Well, if we are to fire the committee and the committee needs young people, then those of you who are suggesting that, here's my question. Would you be willing to step up and be a part of the new committee? So when we fire everybody, would you then put up your hand and say, here I am, here I am. I want to be on the Calypso committee, I want to be on the Queenshaw committee, I want to be involved. You know, that for me is very important. I played cricket as a youngster, but I could not bat. I used to do a little leg spin, but really and truly I was not a batsman. But I would stay in the pavilion or on the park wall and see batsmen in the wicket. And even now I would watch cricket on television and see professional players and say, oh, that's a stupid shot. Oh, why he didn't play a square cut instead of that shot? Why he tried to hook? The point I'm driving at, it's very easy when you're off the field to criticize those who are on the field. Very easy. When you're off the field, you see every ball big like a breadfruit. You know every shot in the book. You know the shots that should be taken and the balls that should be left alone. But when the question is asked of you, well, if you know so much, will you put on your pads and go down there in the wicket? You say, Tal, not you? Not me? Me now go down there? I say that metaphorically to say to our people that sometimes instead of just heaping criticism and negativity, why not offer ourselves and our energies? Why not say, how can I help? And that is why I have high praise for the committee. Because the Culture Armor Committee, many people don't know, is by and large volunteerism. We put on an entire festival with the majority of people planning and executing and giving their all who are volunteers. They're not being paid, they're not being rewarded, it's not a job. Many of them have their regular job and then they come to assist at meetings and planning and organizing. And I think sometimes we ought to stop and say thank you to them. Thank you to them. And to applaud their effort, because they are doing something that we ourselves are not doing. When we're off the field, when we're in the pavilion, we have the most to say. We know what went wrong and what should have gone right. But when called upon, well, have you volunteered to assist? Me not got no time for that. Me busy. But others who step forward, we heap such criticism on them. And so I am urging our people, offer constructive ideas. That's why I believe we'll have that post-mortem. But also offer of your expertise. The people on the Culture Armor Committee don't have a monopoly on ideas. Well, step forward and say, I am here to help, because Culture Armor belongs to all of us. And if it is to survive, it will depend on all of us. Lending our talents. Some very good at organizing, some are not. Some very good at stage management and events management, some are not. So step forward and let us, from those who step forward, get the best so we can move forward. But please resist that base temptation to bash people who are trying their very best to help, because that's what they're doing. And tonight, Culture Armor Committee members, wherever you are, take a bow. You have delivered Culture Armor 50, and I will not be here and say it was perfect, but it was very, very, very good. And I believe that the vast majority of persons have come to that conclusion. When I saw the number of people who were on the road for Juve, it was astonishing. Astonishing. Speedy song, Piece of the Road, kept playing in my head, because I said that road from Gingerland to Tongue must mash up with a number of people, thousands of people on it. I did not even see the jamming in town or from the other side of the island, because I was in the long jam coming from Gingerland. So let us give our people the kudos. They're not perfect. None of us is perfect. But they're out there and they're contributing. They're putting up their hand. They're saying, here I am. I have come to help. And I want to applaud that, because too many of us are unwilling to do that. There's some people on this island here. You can't even get them to move trash that is outside their gate. They tell you, government must pay somebody to come and do that. Yeah. Put differently, they're not giving of themselves to anything. But they are the first in line to start to cuss and criticize and say aught against people who are willing to step up and try. None of us is perfect. None of us will always get everything right. But I applaud people who step up and try. Do not be that person in the pavilion who all you can do is see all the shots that should be played on the field. Come on the field and assist with the game itself. And so I commend them. Volunteers who step up for the various shows and who assist. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I say thank you. Now let me leave Culture Armor and the Nevis Homecoming for a moment and deal with one or two other matters. I want to say to the public that I will ask the Cabinet to consider a day and time appropriate for the official opening of the Pinnies Beach development. I know that people have been using it already, but I think it's appropriate that we have an official opening. We would want to do the same at the Bath Stream and the development that has occurred there. And you will see us doing that from time to time, because I think when we do these things, we need to recognize the people who have stepped up and who have made these developments possible. We did not have a formal opening, if you will, of the village and complex, because we remember that we did that work in a particular window. But I want to go on record tonight to thank each and every one of the contractors. I believe we had over 12. And each and every one of the vendors. And I want to thank the plumbers, the electricians, because they worked together to get that job done. Above all, I want to thank Alistair Thompson from Public Works, because when we had the initial meetings, I said Alistair was the person who did the original village. I want us to consider him for this project. And the minister agreed, and Alistair was there. He kept telling me he's going to finish on time, and through all the doubts and the back and forth, the project, both the village and complex, were delivered. It was not easy, and I want people to understand that. There were a lot of sleepless nights. There was a lot of recrimination. There was a lot of accusation. There was a lot of allegation. There was a lot of all kind of shun. But at the end of the day, those projects were delivered in time to host Culturama 50. And nobody get no paint on the frock, because everything was done in time and in good order. And so I say kudos. And as I said, Minister Evelyn will deal with those matters more fully. But I like to celebrate our people. I think those who know me know that that has been the hallmark of my leadership as Premier. I like to celebrate our people. When they do well, I like to celebrate the fact that they've contributed and that they've done well. And when I heard the kudos coming from so many patrons about the village, about the complex, I was proud to say that this was done by Nivisions for Nivisions. We had a Nivision architect. I think his name is, I hope I got it right, Mr. Pemberton. We had Nivision engineers. Mr. Dyer, I think, was the engineer. We had a Nivision project manager in Mr. Thompson. We had Nivision contractors. Over 12 of them. Plumbers, electricians, all local people working together to produce what we now see and marvel at. It was done by us and for us. And ladies and gentlemen, for me, that is valuable beyond measure. Valuable beyond measure. And I want us to reflect on these things. That as a government, it has been our policy to empower our people, to give them an opportunity, because if they can't get an opportunity in their own country, well, who else we expect to give them an opportunity? If they go St. Martin or they go New York and they're rebuffed, they may well say, well, I'm in a strange land. I'm in somebody else's land. But they are not to be rebuffed in their own land. And so we need to give them the opportunity, and on every occasion, when we have given the people of Nevis the opportunity, they have risen to that opportunity. We are not a perfect people, but we are hard-working and we are resilient people. And when I look at what has been done there at that village and at that complex, and I look at our road network, and I look at the water taxi facility, and I look here at the Bath Stream, we see projects executed by us and for us. You want to talk about the economy? every penny that you saw being spent, who it was being spent with? Local people. What they do with it? They bank it, they spend it, they circulates, percolates within the local economy. That is strategic on our part. You see, when we empower your own people, you're not just giving them purpose. You're not just saying to them you are as good as and perhaps even better than most. You're also creating an economic flow. I see a lot of people don't get that. We had previous models where all the work was given to a foreign company and that money went out of here. Minute that money was paid, it went shush, gone. When local people make money, they're banking it locally, they're spending locally, they're buying groceries, they're paying Levlek, they're paying water department, they're buying land, they're investing. It is circulating here and helping to build. There's something in economics they call a multiplier effect. You spend $1 here and that dollar multiplies throughout the economy. All of this is strategic thinking on the part of the government. You see, if you're just sitting down and you don't understand or you don't want to understand the plan, then I could understand you get lost. But I'm just trying to explain to our people how the thinking, the modeling, the approach is to ensure that we benefit this island of Nevis and that we get the level of development for our island that will inure to the benefit of our people. Because ultimately that's why we're here. So we're going to have some opening ceremonies. We hope to schedule those. I will see what my cabinet colleagues say. I also want to go on record to commend the Honorable Spencer Brand and his team. I talk about Spencer a lot because he's not the kind to talk about himself. He's a quiet fellow. But he's somebody who continues to produce. You know, we had some water woes early in the year. We had to ration water. Thankfully, God blessed us with abundant rainfall in the last month or so, which helped immensely. There were times when I was engaging with Spencer sometimes early in the morning, late at nights, when Four Seasons was full and are saying they need more water. And we're having to make hard choices to determine which areas of the island we're going to try to get more water to the detriment of other areas. And through it all, Spencer Brand has been steady and his leadership has been exemplary. Many people may not know that there were times when our tanks, our storage tanks, fell to as low as 10% storage because pumps are broken down, all kinds of problems. Now, the last report I had, our tanks were at 70 and 80 and 90% capacity. Four Seasons was practically full just last week and we had no problems. Nevis was full and overflowing with people and we had no water problems. It did not come by accident. It came by because of how the system was being managed. And as I said, I want to commend Spencer and his entire team. The manager there at Water Department, a young lady, Miss Mills, and all the engineers and those who are there who are contributing day in, day out. I commend them. But I also commend the fact that in all the celebration of Culturama, we might have missed that our drillers whom we have contracted to find more water are not only already on Nevis but already drilling. Last I gathered they were in Maddens and they were already hard at work to find additional water. Our goal is to be able to find an additional 1.5 to 2 million gallons a day and put that into the system. While they're here drilling, and they will be drilling, we hope, several wells, the desalination plant, small plant, again in the great parish of St. James, that's already under construction, and we hope to be able to commission that this year. And so, as you've heard me say often, even in terms of water development, this government has been deliberate. We spent on improving distribution around the island. We removed all of the old pipes and put modern polyurethane pipes. We increased the size of the pipes so as to remove the difficulty that some had with poor water pressure. We rerouted and reorganized the system so that I'm told now we could feed various areas of Nevis from various storage tanks. We invested in brand new storage tanks all across the island. And in fact, even when we were done with the first phase of that project, Mr. Brand came back and asked for more resources, and we invested again in additional tanks in places like Pond Hill, brand new tanks. We replaced old tanks, many of which were leaking and could not be repaired, and those that we could still use, we have continued to use. In Hamilton, we had one of the highest producing wells, the Hamilton well, but we could not use the water because the water had too many chemicals in it. I think it had a lot of manganese, if memory serves. And clearly the water that comes through our pipes has to satisfy World Health Organization standards. And that water from Hamilton did not satisfy those standards. So we had a high producing well that we couldn't use. The previous government just abandoned that well. When we got into office, we looked at the matter critically. And again, Mr. Brand, he said, man, let us see if we can get a treatment plant. And if you run that water through the treatment plant, take out the chemicals. And what comes out at the other end? Potable water. WHO standard that we can use. And that's exactly what we did. We invested, and right there at Hamilton, we have a whole sophisticated setup there where we're doing a process with the water where it runs through our system and is cleaned up, brought to potable standard, and then put into the water supply. Investments that are made, some of you don't even notice because clearly the pipes are underground. You don't know what's under the road as you're driving. The tanks are sometimes up in the mountains, you don't see them, so you don't know. But these are the investments, and so the third phase now was to find more water. And that's why the drillers are here working as we speak, and that is why the desalination plant is under construction. I am saying these things because I think that you need to appreciate the level of work that has been going on, the level of investment that is being made. You know, during a political cycle some time ago, former Prime Minister in St. Kitts, in lambasting me, said that I spend bad. Remember that. Say I spend bad because I get money and nothing to show for the money. And I smile all the time because I say, if developing water is spending bad, if building a hospital is spending bad, if doing roads is spending bad, water taxi facility is spending bad, a Mondo track is spending bad, a new treasury building is spending bad, a new police station and fire station at Newcastle is spending bad, a new CCTV center and CCTV coverage all across the island with fiber optic run across this island is spending bad. If looking out for elderly is spending bad. Investing in our schools and a new TVET wing at the Gingerland Secondary School is spending bad. Then I plead guilty. I am indeed a bad spender. because this government has invested. And if Stevie Wonder were to come here today, he would look around and he would do his usual and he would say, I can see so beautifully all that is happening on Nevis. And that now is the dilemma, my friends. A dilemma of credibility, because eyes can't lie and people have seen for themselves. To God be the glory. Let us open the lines. 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. If you have something to say, then I invite you to call in and say it. Ladies and gentlemen, usually at the top of the show I would indicate that if there are people who are having some difficulties of some kind, if they're sick, if they're ailing, if they've had lost loved ones, then I obviously am sending my condolences to them, and to say that I am sometimes without the information, because I don't get the information every time. But certainly, ladies and gentlemen, when I do get information, I come to you with it. And so if sometimes you hear me say things and say them in a generic way, it's because I did not have the information to hand. But certainly if there are those out there who are struggling in some way, please know that my heart is with you and will always be with you. Let's go to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Sheriff, good night.
Good night.
I'm glad Culturama come. It was wonderful and it's come to an end.
Thank you.
John 16 verse 12 and 13. I have much more to say to you, more than you can bear. But when he, the Spirit of truth, comes, he will guide you into all the truth. He will not speak on his own. He will speak only what he hears, and he will tell you what is yet to come. Good night. I see you in the long jump and I like your style.
All right, my dear. All right. Thank you very much for that, and thank you for your beautiful scripture as always. The numbers 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. Those are the numbers to call to be a part of this show this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, we have put a number of things on the table. But if you realize that there's a common thread to a lot of these shows and a lot of my public statements, and it's about empowering our people, ensuring that our people are at the center of what we do, taking care of our people, creating opportunities for our people to earn and to have a better standard of living and a better quality of life. That is what we've been doing. And yes, some have opted to criticize and be negative, and that's their right. But I also believe that the majority of our people are fair and right-thinking members of the society. And they will look around and they will determine for themselves what is happening on this island and whether or not what they see is satisfactory to them. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good evening, Honorable. How are you doing tonight, my brother?
Doing?
I can.
How you doing? How you doing?
Yeah, all right, so far.
All right.
Man, I enjoyed the time that I spent in Nevis.
Yes.
And I still can't, believe people saying nothing happening in Nevis.
Mm-hmm.
I suck hearing some people saying that, you know what I mean? And I know a lot of people leave from Nevis, surprised to see how Nevis shape up.
Yes.
And I have some friends, who support the NRP, when they say anything about it, just squeeze me in the corner, But I had a good time up here with Honorable, I think, for the next Culturama, you need to work on, get somebody to organize to get a horse race up.
Mm-hmm. I
think that can help for the people who want to be in Nevis for Culturama, and also a Coney Island.
Mm-hmm.
I think you need to have someone go there and try to see what it costs to bring us Coney Island also. for the youngsters and adult people. I think that can boost Culturama also. So I think you need to work on that too. I mean, you all is young guys, and you have to put some young experience in what you go there and see how to bring in new things, new ideas. And I believe having Coney Island could make a lot difference. Bring it in early and have the children enjoy themselves. That's my idea about seeing so much of people was there for Culturama. I think you need to go have someone out there. Go out and check out what it costs to bring in a Coney Island. And I think that could be a plus. And also have investors come in and look at pathways, and also that will be a plus for Culturama. That's how I look at it. But I think I saw you, man. I seen a leader like you. Jamil, you ain't easy at all, Honorable.
Well, it was a long jam, so I try a thing.
But tell about it, you in the middle, you could say sense to your head. I say, wait, that can't be Honorable in there jamming between a young boy them. What? You ain't easy, but I give you credit, man. I give you credit, but I think the idea what you said about the hospice and the Coney Island could help boost and have the youngsters them see what Coney Island is all about. And you have to bring them all here anyhow, that they could enjoy Ferris wheel and things like that. That's mine 2 cents. I will listen to it. But I can't believe people saying today nothing going on. And before I leave, the hospital with the machine, but them said people can go down thinking to get deal with how they're coming along Honorable, like what do you call it, the acid machine.
Oh, the dialysis. Yeah, so we have a few dialysis patients. They're being dialyzed in St. Kitts with assistance from the NIA, the Nevis Island Administration, but because we do not yet have dialysis available on Nevis itself. That is one of the goals that we have, and that is one of the provisions that we've made in the new hospital wing. That hospital wing, we had committed to restarting it earlier this year, but after we looked at what we had to do in terms of Culturama to get Culturama, the place ready for Culturama 50, we decided that we would leave that until later this year, look at it, and then move forward in terms of budget and the finances. So dialysis is not yet available in Nevis, but that's certainly on the cards. It is one of the things that we're trying to do. But in the meantime, we do provide assistance to our patients who are being dialyzed on St. Kitts at the moment.
Because that's one of the talk going around about having one of them up there and St. Kitts this and St. Kitts that. That's the whole bottom line.
Caller, I understand the talk, and the talk will always be there, because when you put in the dialysis machine, I will assure you, they will say you need to have heart treatment and cardiac treatment. When you put in that, they're going to say you need brain surgery, because you're constantly trying to find something to criticize. But our patients used to have to go as far as St. Martin and Anguilla for dialysis. They're now going 5 minutes away to St. Kitts for dialysis. It is not easy on them because they're sick people and they have to go back and forth. So we appreciate and understand that, and I have very close dialogue with quite a few of them who are going. I think that we now have, 5 or 6 patients who are accessing dialysis on St. Kitts. And so we do assist. We assist in terms of the transportation to St. Kitts, the boat passes. We assist in terms of payments to the JNF over there. And we do have very real plans to have that remedied. But again, we're trying to work systematically in terms of what we're doing. In the interim, though, nobody has, for example, some of the naysayers have not spoken about the fact that we have a brand new 128 slice Philips CT scan machine. It was only the second one in the entire OECS. Nevis had it. Sinkits, our bigger sister, has just bought one, just got delivery I think 2 weeks ago. The same machine that we've had in use in Nevis now over a year. So, you know, we're not perfect. And I keep telling people that if you want a government, you want a wife, you want a husband, you want somebody who is perfect. Well, I believe Adam was perfect and Jesus was perfect. Since them two, I've not heard of anybody who's perfect. So you understand that no situation will have everything that everyone wants and needs. But what I find is that the criticisms are fast in coming. But nobody stops sometimes and say, boy, you know, this was a good investment. Shifting for a moment from health. And I'm going to get the numbers. I'm sorry I don't have them tonight, but I will get the numbers by the time I have my press conference, which I think is scheduled for another 10 days or so. And those numbers, I'm going to speak to the number of people moving on the water taxi at Wally. Why that's important? Because that was one of the projects that was severely criticized. And I am here tonight to say with no water in my mouth, caller, that facility there has spawned an entire industry. That water taxi, you know how many people employed over there now? How many people have got into that business, bought boats, expanded their business? So, you know, you hear sometimes the sound and fury. And again, I always respect people's right to have sound and fury. But there's so many things that have been done by the government that people are reaping the benefits from every day. And some were reaping the benefits still are in front of the line saying nothing happening. You know, a fella calling here one night and had me nicely told off. Say we wasted money up at the village. Say we fixing up village, and that's foolishness. And the next day, somebody called me to him, but up there the man I work. The man is a construction worker up in the village. And the man calling radio to cuss and say we are waste money. He getting a daily bread, a weekly wage out of the village. So you have that happening. And can we improve here and improve there? Man, there's always room for improvement. But in life you got to take things and look at it and say, on balance, has Nevis been progressing? And I believe that the fair-minded person will say there's only one answer to that question. And that, as I go back, is the difficulty, because people like yourself came home and others came home, some who had not been home for a while. I tell you, somebody told me they get lost in Bath Village. They don't recognize Bath Village because Bath was a village that I decided as a representative, man, listen, we need to fix up Bath. It was a difficult project because of how the roads were. But we got it done. When you drive in Bath now, you can't believe, because we not only fixed the roads, we gave people new walls and nice up the place. You understand? And so people now are seeing for themselves. And when a man don't see something for himself, it's hard to persuade that man now that what he see wasn't true.
That's why I cannot understand how people can go around and say nothing ain't happening. And that's what, you know, I glad a lot of people come home.
Oh yes.
They leave it and see for themselves and see the difference for themselves. And also with the road. You know, I Nevis have a better road than St. Kitts, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I overthink it. And also, it St. Kitts, again, such a change. You know, I think that a lot of us who out should visit the island often. Because as you said earlier on, that you could get lost. I come and think this afternoon, and I say, what? What a difference in St. Kitts now.
Mm-hmm.
I could get lost. I was shocked. I said I have to visit up there a little more often. And when Nevis again, so many roads to go to, good roads, you know, the two islands really, I have to give credit to both islands for the changes that happened for the past years. Some people didn't like to hear me say that, you know, but that's like, I don't remember seeing everybody, you know, don't like what you're saying. You have the likes and not the likes.
Well, remember that crucified Jesus, you know. So who am I? You know.
I got leave it up with I think it right now. Gonna come out to leave it tomorrow in here, but.
All right, brother.
I visit both islands, so
yes,
I hear by across my mind on cooling out. So
all right.
Let me call in and tell you what a good time I had, and people who come in to Nevis shocked to see how Nevis look. I met a lot of people who say, "What? How Nevis look and changes happen?" And some of them out there say, "Nothing happening." I remember I'm going to leave the line open for you.
All right.
And somebody to call it.
Okay, brother. Thanks for your call, and I really appreciate you coming and enjoying yourself. All right?
All right.
Good. We're taking your calls. 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. As the caller is speaking about people coming and enjoying themselves, I must confess that when I went to the food fair last week, Saturday, I was shocked. I came and I saw vehicles parked all the way up the bypass road, and I said, well, what is an event being kept somewhere along the bypass road? Because I couldn't believe that people were parking so far up that road to walk from there to Pinner's. And when I got down to Pinner's, I was astonished at what I saw there in terms of the turnout and the support, and everybody had the same comments. What a wonderful time that they're having here on beautiful Nevis. As we said, Nevis nice. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good evening, Mr. Premier. How you doing, sir?
Hey, Mr. Culture. You wake up?
Man, you know I strong, you know. I strong.
Yes.
Good.
What's happening?
I'm doing pretty good. I just wanted to call in to say just say thanks to all of the folks who have made this cultural festival the huge success it was. Of course, as you would have indicated earlier on the premiere, there's always room for improvement. And of course, you know, we have some work to do with some of the shows and so on in terms of the management and in terms of the timing and so on. But all in all, I think the festival went down exceptionally well. And the feedback that we have been getting from persons who attended the shows, persons who attended all of the activities, the positives are there. Of course, there is one or two little negatives, but the positives far outweigh the negatives. All in all, I think it was a fantastic festival. It was a festival that we put a lot of work into, and I think the hard work paid off. It paid off. You did indicate that I went to NTV today to make an official address to thank folks and to speak about the festival in general. But as the Minister of Culture, I have to say that my heart is full, Honourable Premier. My heart is full, and I am really overjoyed and overwhelmed and delighted at the show of support from members of the public, and of course to all those returning nationals who came home in overwhelming numbers. I'm at a little get together here. I had to step away to make a call, and you know I'm speaking to a couple of folks who are returning nationals who came home for the festival, and I did let them know who I was. I'm asking them, how did you enjoy the festival? And the reviews are good. The reviews are good. I spoke to one lady and she said, I had a wonderful time. Everything was so good. And I said, I'm happy to hear that. I'm the Minister of Culture. I didn't want to tell you that I'm the Minister of Culture, but I wanted to get your reaction first. You know? And the reviews as we went around during the entire festival, positive. I was very pleased when I went to the cocktail for the Caribbean Queen contestant. I spoke to the young lady from Guyana who won the contest last year. And you know what she said to me, Premier? She said, Mr. Minister, I was here last year. I took part in the show last year. I won last year. And I have to tell you that I've come back 1 year later and I've seen so many improvements. I didn't ask her I didn't ask her. I didn't evoke anything. She said, I am back 1 year after, and I tell you, I've seen so many improvements. And I mean, I was really heartened with that comment. And so, Honorable Premier, I want to say thanks to the Cabinet for the overwhelming support in terms of our projects, in terms of our improvements. The committee did a marvelous job in putting a really grand festival together. All of our sponsors, all of our revelers, I want to congratulate the winners. Everyone who made sure that Culturama 50 and Homecoming was a huge success. I just want to say thank you. And I said my heart is really full. When we look at the food fair premiere, I mean, we have never seen a food fair like this before.
Oh man, I was just commenting on it. I've never seen anything like that.
We've never seen anything like this. We had record number of vendors, and the vendors are still smiling in the premiere. The vendors are still smiling because I had occasion to speak to a couple of them, and they said they did very well, you know. And I mean, persons were just so blown away with the organization. We had a record number of vendors. We had a record attendance. Everything about the food fair was good. Everything about the food fair was good. The street activities, again, quite good. And as you spoke earlier, you spoke about down at Pitties. And you were correct because as you spoke about somebody saying that, you know, they feel like they were in some place in the U.S.
Yes.
I had occasion to speak to when I was down at Pitties one evening. And I spoke to a supporter of the opposition. And you know what he said to me? When I'm down here at Pitties, I don't feel like I'm in Nevis. I don't feel like I'm in Nevis. And you're correct as well that we try to stay away from the politics during the Culturama. Because Culturama is really a time for all of us to come together and enjoy ourselves. And that is what the essence of Culturama should really be. You know, someone spoke to me today, and you know what he said to me? Man, you all should play a little politics during the Culturama. I said, no, we shouldn't do that. That was not the time for that. He said, you all should play a little politics. You all should say we have water, because they told people when you're coming home, you have to bring your water. But we didn't have to do that. God is good. And God is good that everything went down well. We had a crime-free accident and incident to Culturama. And all in all, irrespective of the little hitches that we had, I think Culturama 50 is one for the history books. And once again, I really want to thank everyone for the support for this festival.
Thank you, my brother. And I believe that you did say you would give a more fulsome update in due course.
Yes.
And so we look forward to that for sure. And then that post-mortem, so to speak, that you will have with the team.
Indeed.
And with the public, yeah?
And
So,
I personally had a good time, Premier. I had a good time.
well,
a wonderful time for Juve.
You don't have to tell me. I see you.
Parade of troops.
I saw you. You don't have to tell me. So I'm happy you had a good time, and that's what I like about your leadership. You lead from the front, you know.
Indeed.
You're participating, so I love to see that. I got so badly sunburnt from Juve that I couldn't even make it into town the following day. But I did send Sharon to represent me. So
She did, and she represented you well.
All right. Well, that's good.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Premier.
Okay.
And you have a good night.
You too. Thanks for the call, Deputy
All
Premier
right.
and Minister of Culture, the Honorable Eric Evelyn. Just an announcement here. My good friend Stedvin Clark is saying that he's having the raffle of the century for Culturama 50. That raffle is about to happen. So the countdown is officially on. The raffle is going to be this week, Friday at 5 p.m. There's a cash option on the jackpot. You either win a Mercedes Jeep or 80,000 EC. 80,000 EC or Mercedes Jeep. And then he's also giving 5 complimentary draws of $1,000 each. The sixth draw is the 2020 Mercedes Benz GLC 300 or 80,000. So you can choose the car or you choose $80,000. That's simply amazing. The draw date, August 9th, this Friday. 1 ticket, $100. Buy 2 tickets for $200 and get the third ticket absolutely free. And let me see if he has a number here to purchase your tickets in Nevis. Clark's One Stop at Gingerland, 662-3777 or 469-3777. Bourgeois Place in town, 469-5255. V Snacket in town, 469-1854. And of course, we never leave out Synkits. To purchase your tickets in Synkits, Mohan's Tire Service needs must, 465-7098. BCA on Central Street, 465-3057 or 662-3057. And Fashion 2020 on 4th Street, 660-8620. Big raffle, $80,000 or a Mercedes-Benz motor car. Your choice. Let's go back to the phones and take this call. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Hello, good evening, and how are you?
I am well, thank you. Good evening to you.
Okay, so my name is Joyce Movin, and I want to congratulate the committee who executed Culturama 50 this year. I saw lots of people, and so I want to say congratulations to the committee, and thanks to all the persons who came home to celebrate with us here, and those who at home who came out and supported all of the activities for Culturama 50. And now that it's over, and we are at the wind down stage, so I'm inviting all persons to come on out and attend the food fair, the Taste of the Caribbean Food Fair, hosted by the Parish of St. George and St. John Anglican Church. And that is this coming Saturday, August 10th, at the Rectory Grounds, just on Hanley's Road, from 11 a.m. until 8 p.m. We are asking all persons to come out and support this activity. We're doing this activity to renovate our historic rectory building. And so we'll be having a variety of food flavors from around the region. It's only $25 for a ticket. However, the entrance is free. We're having tickets on sale so for only $25 EC. But the entrance fee is free, and we will be having what we call a chit booth where you can purchase chit to buy anything you want from the stores that we'll be having. So we're hoping that persons will come out and support this activity.
Caller, you there?
Yes, I'm
I thought you hung up on me. Yes, so you want people to come out and support the activity. It's a very worthy cause. And so I am to echo your sentiments that persons should come out. Just give us the time and date again.
This coming Saturday, August 10th, 2024, from 11 a.m. until around 8 p.m. Location, St. George's Rectory Grounds, and that is just down Hanley's Road. And this activity is hosted by the Parish of St. George and St. John's, the Anglican community. We know we used to have it years ago, so we're reviving it. It used to be the big thing after it was officially or unofficially called the Culturama Cool Down activity. So we have brought it back up again for this year.
Okay, wonderful. All right. Well, thank you very much for that. Okay?
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Great. Thank you very much for that. And I trust and hope that people go out in their numbers and support. We're taking your calls, ladies and gentlemen, at 469-5259. I'm sorry, 469-1616 and 469-1700. I have no idea where this number popped into my head from. But 469-1616 and 469-1700. Those are the numbers to call to be a part of the show this evening. We have just about 35 minutes left, so we'll continue to take your calls and get your views. Let's go back to the telephones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Hey, on the mark.
Yes, good evening. How are you doing?
Look at the best place to keep food fair item is when they now come back away. You never see a bigger place from down there.
You like the place?
Then I went there the other one, they didn't room. And hey, I thought of the masquerade Regina, the Bermuda.
They don't call masquerade, they call Gumbe.
Huh?
They call them Gumbe dancers.
Oh, they call them masquerade.
Huh?
Then they must take one of these masquerade them now.
Yeah, but it look like masquerade, but not quite the same, because they don't have no fife and thing, you know.
Oh, yeah, they don't have a fife.
No.
Children.
Yeah.
I thought of that.
Yeah, man, I think they brought a big group here from Bermuda, so let me big them up because they really added a lot to the Culturama this year, you know. But you know, a lot of the people in Bermuda trace their roots to St. Nevis, eh?
Yeah.
So
okay, everything is everything.
All right. And you see everybody, you see all your friends. Okay. I think he's gone now. I know who that is, so good evening to you. And, thanks for calling as always. You usually send a shout out to all your friends overseas, but I saw most of the guys here who will be shouting out. And, as I comment on that, as I went around Nevis, I said to myself, I wonder if anybody from Nevis was left outside. Because to me, everybody was here. Everybody I could think about was here. And it was so amazing. I mean, entire families were here. Hundreds of people. The Huggins family alone, I think, was well over 200, they told me. So, there are so many people on the island. These Goombe dancers, for example, from Bermuda, I'm told that they had to stay at the Marriott. There was no place in Nevis for them to stay. Large group. They stayed at the Marriott in St. Kitts and came back and forth. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, there's a lot that is being said, but I think that that's important. While I'm on the show here, I keep checking my phone because somebody sent me something. And I want to read it on air because I think it captures, to me, so eloquently, my own sentiments. It says, Culturama is what you make it. If you come with the attitude looking for faults, you will find them. But if you come to have a good time, then nothing will stop you. It is all about participation. The troops are there. So before you criticize, take part. Before you argue about pay-per-view, come to the show. The contestants do their best, support them. Stop putting politics into everything and just enjoy yourself. Why you got to rate it? Did anyone ask you? Are you now the spokesperson for everything that you think that your opinion matters? It just encourages more negativity and influence. The bottom line is, I have been with Culturama since 1987. I have seen every change, none better or worse than the other, because I don't judge it. I do the best I can with what I have, just like everyone else. Don't judge. And if you don't have anything constructive to say, then be quiet. Not everybody deserves a mic. And that was put up by Nevis and St. Kitts' foremost artist, Vaughn Anslin. And I thought that was an interesting perspective, and that's why I read it into the record. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, caller. You're on the mark.
Hello, good evening, sir.
You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
First of all, I really want to send my congratulations to the Culturama committee. It seems like a successful Culturama. Everything was safe and nice and thing, And then I want to send some condolences out to the passing of my classmate, my friend for all these years, Glenn Gold Philip. From the time we were 12 years in school, we were friends until his passing, and I think he will be sadly missed by the basketball sporting community and by St. Kitts in general, because he was a man of the people.
Yes.
He was a candidate for Labour. He still could be reached by anybody, and so I will miss his smile and miss his cordiality and thing, because from 12 years until we are this kind of easy to be friends, never fall out yet. And I think that all the respect that the country is giving to him is well deserved. And then I want to send advance birthday greetings to my mother, who will be celebrating soon. She lives in Macknight, celebrating a 95 plus birthday this week.
Your mom is 95? Your mom is 95?
95 plus.
Wow.
Yes, her name is Sylvia Penny. She sits in Macknight, still the elder of the area, and so I really want to send advance birthday greetings to her too, And to all the other people who suffer losses, violent or not, and I send my condolences and my heart wishes out. And to the nation again, let us call, man, the Gaza, we must separate from the wrong. What's going on in Gaza and Sudan, our voice must be heard morally. Our voice must be heard as a people. We cannot sit down and allow America to dictate us when we sit and when we don't sit. America has the white supremacist agenda to follow. We have a black agenda, agenda to follow, which is morality. We don't have no ammunition, we don't have money, but we have a moral conscience that we must make it count. I don't like the silence that Dr. Joan, Dr. Douglas and the Ministry is playing in this issue, because we have diplomatic connection with Israel. So we could break them. I could push on them to come to the United Nations in draft council. Come be the safe and abide by the resolution. It is unfair for us to sit back and just watch this bloodshed and the innocent people and women getting slaughtered. 40,000 and we mouth form our mouth. Even think it. If you want to call for investigation into all the time that TJ Robinson as the police, he had the police force because some serious things happen, even down to the murder of my brethren, and a lot of these things being swept under the door, on the mat, and we need to hold the police accountable. If the police could hold anybody accountable, we need to hold the police accountable too, because the police is not above the law. And I think that we have dropped the ball in terms of holding them accountable, because they are not bigger than anybody, and we are finding them involved in extrajudicial killing. I want to make that allegation now, because I'm calling for me to present the evidence to the panel, what I have, the information, what the malprop they are doing. And we are too silent about that. In Afghanistan, the British troops committed an anomaly, but some years far back, and there's an investigation going on here today, as many speak. We are too silent about wrong. And I want to really ask for people to raise up our voices. Give thanks. Honorable.
Thank you very much, and I join you in congratulating your mom on her birthday. And I pray and hope that God continues to bless her with long life, good health, and happiness. Thank you very much for that. And I too join in extending condolences to the family of Glenn Ghost Phillip. I knew Ghost. Wouldn't say that we were close, but I certainly knew him, and at some point we were in Parliament together. And I do remember him and his contribution to the life and times of the Parliament, and of course his contribution to St. Kitts as a sporting icon and then as a parliamentarian. Let me in the same vein extend condolences to my friend Delissa, who lost her son, just a 9-year-old boy, in tragic circumstances in St. Kitts, and of course who also lost Devon Paris. So my heart goes out to his parents, his family, and the entire Paris clan. Devon actually worked with us in the Ministry of Tourism as a lifeguard on the beach, so it's somebody that we knew very well. And it's very, very sad, and I keep talking about crime and speaking out about it. I'm grateful that I have been in touch with Delissa. I have been in touch, with the family, and I am just prayerful, that we can find the necessary solutions to break the back of this criminality once and for all. These are two individuals from Nevis. The incident did not happen in Nevis, but nevertheless, these are two individuals from Nevis. I did not know the little boy, but certainly I knew Devon quite well. And so I extend deepest condolences to those who are mourning. And as I said earlier at the top of the show, for those who are being afflicted in any way, please accept our prayers for your recovery and well-being. For those who are depressed and down in spirit, please accept our prayers for your lifting of your spirits, and that God will continue to be there for all of us, because when we are in the valley, most times God is the only person that we see, and that's who we appeal to. And some of us, when we get up to the mountain, we forget. I had a thought recently in my usual morning message, and I say that people pray to God fervently when they're in the valley, and when they get on the mountaintop, they say there is no God. So we have to be careful. And as the songwriter says, the God in the valley is the God in the mountain. The God in the mountain is the God in the valley. So we are and must recognize that there is a higher being that comforts us in times of difficulty. And so we pray for all of those who mourn, and my heart goes out to all of those who are having that difficulty, and my heart mourns for our nation, because we have to break the back of this cycle of crime and violence. Let us continue then to hope and to work together to prevent and to stop this behavior. I say all the time because it is true. Those that are being killed are our brothers and sisters, our cousins, our uncles, our neighbors. Those who are doing the killing equally are our brothers and sisters, our uncles, our cousins, our neighbors. Crime is from us. It emanates from our society, and it therefore has to be an all of society response. It is not enough when something happens that we give a nice speech and we jump on radio and we jump on Facebook and we start to say all kinds of things. The public must engage. Just today I spoke to someone and I said to them that no matter how rich and how powerful a country is, no matter the level of expertise that their police and security forces have, in any system globally, they depend on the people, the citizens and residents, to help to prevent crime, and when it does happen, to solve crime. Because somebody sees something, somebody knows something. And we hear the argument all the time, oh, I not trust the police. That to my mind is merely an argument of convenience. That's a scapegoating that's being done. Because all of us have somebody that we trust. Could be a pastor, it could be the premier, it could be a political leader, somebody whom we trust. That if our society was structured in a way where we really had empathy for each other, that when we saw our neighbor's house being broken into, we would report. Because the irony of ironies is that when our house is being broken into, we want people to come and help us. But when it's our neighbor, we say we don't see, we don't hear, we don't know. We turn deaf, dumb, blind. That's how we behave. And then we're quick to jump up and cuss the police and say the police ain't doing their job. And the government this and the government that and the government the other. But as a society, are we not enabling, protecting? Who sometimes is making the links for these fellows to do what they're doing? Who driving them? Who carrying the weapons for them? Sometimes I believe we might be surprised when we learn of who the network of enablers are. People that they see with the brightest smile, in the heels, going to work, in the offices around town, and they are enabling a lot of this activity. The parents who know what their children are doing and swear to all God that them not me son, none of them things there. But they well know what their son is doing. And if you're not careful, they might hide the gun for their son. Where is it going to end? Because if we say there are monsters in our midst, we raise them, It's not people who came from Timbuktu and landed on Nevis. It's people who went to school here, primary school, high school. People that we see growing up who played sports, who went school and played cricket and did all that, and turn around and the same person they went school with and who was their neighbor and who they played cricket with is the person they tried to go and kill. We are the ones raising them. And so all of us must bear that collective shame and that collective guilt. And it's not enough to say, oh, not my child is not involved in this and that. We understand it's a small minority. But that small minority has the ability to derail the lives of the majority, to derail our economy, and put our island and our country into immense difficulty, to set back all the development that we've tried to achieve. And yet some of our people stick their head in the sand like an ostrich, pretend they don't see, they don't know. Some of the parents have no right to give for their bad children. And I'm saying it because all of us know it's true. Some things you can't sugarcoat and you can't pretend. A lot of parents out there have no right to give for their bad children. And they're the ones raising them. We're the ones raising them. They went to our schools. They came from us. They're not imports from someplace foreign. And so we, as a community, as a society, we have to do some soul searching. We have to ask ourselves, how did we raise these people? From whence did they come? And how have we lost our way to the point where a 9-year-old child is killed? 9-year-old. How? Those are some very, very difficult but necessary questions we must ask. And when I say we, I mean all of us, you and me. We must ask ourselves, how did we get here? Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On the Mark. It is 16 minutes to the hour of 10 o'clock, and we're taking your calls. 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. Those are the numbers to call if you would like to be a part of this show this evening. And of course, the On the Mark show is broadcast here on the Eastern Caribbean's only powerhouse, VON Radio, the voice of Nevis. 860 on your AM dial, www.vonradio.com. Also streaming live on YouTube and Facebook. Yeah, some time ago we went live, so now I have to put on proper shirt and do all of that, so that I'm going live now. People are watching and commenting, and I thank all who join us religiously on a Wednesday. Those who join via the regular radio channels, those who join on the internet, those who of course on Facebook and YouTube, and the commentary is quite lively, and so I welcome persons who are involved, and I thank you for having this show and VON Radio as your preferred choice for accurate information. As we like to say, this show is talk, straight talk across the Narrows. There's no spin bowling going on here. It's straight. And we invite all shades of public opinion. That is and has been the hallmark of the On the Mark show. People say to me all the time, why you don't hang up on he, why you don't hang up on she? We invite all shades of public opinion. The only requirement that we have is that you not be disrespectful. We have tried our very best over the decade and a half plus that we've been doing this show to allow people a voice, but in a space that is respectful. And so we don't tolerate any disrespect, we don't tolerate any lowering of the standard for which VON Radio is known. And I continue to thank publicly Everett Weber Herbert, and of course the gentleman Mr. Herbert, who founded this whole empire here, Everett Weber, who has run it for all these years, because they have given me an opportunity to be here, and I consider it a tremendous privilege to have the opportunity to sit here and to speak with the people of Nevis at home and abroad, and people elsewhere, every Wednesday for 2 hours, and those 2 hours are commercial free. They're commercial free because for all of those years that we've had this show, the law firm of Daniel Brantley has sponsored the show, and I thank them for that, because through their hard work and their sponsorship we're able to come here week in, week out, month in, month out, year in, year out, and have this show without any commercials. The reason for not having commercials is really to allow persons, when they call in, maximum time to develop the point that they need to develop. And so sometimes if I'm on the line with somebody for 10, 12, 15 minutes, it's because we're having a discussion which I feel is contributing to our collective understanding of the various issues that impact us here in our beloved Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Now, ladies and gentlemen, with all the talk and excitement about Culturama 50 and the Nevis homecoming, we have almost not noticed that the Olympic Games has been happening. And the games have been happening in Paris, France, and the Caribbean has had some major successes. Thus far, based on what I've gathered, St. Lucia has won Olympic gold in the 100 meters and Olympic silver in the 200 meters. And Dominica has won Olympic gold in the triple jump. We also have others placing. A Grenadian, I think, would have placed bronze, got third place in the decathlon. And we have had, of course, the perennials, Jamaicans, who have placed. In fact, a young Jamaican has just broken the world record, set a new Olympic record for, I believe it's the, is it the javelin or the discus? I'm not sure, but one of those field events. I saw it on the way here. And so we are excelling as a Caribbean region. Our athletes are making it to the finals, I see a young woman from St. Vincent made it to the finals, I believe, of the 800 meters. And what I find is interesting is that we are seeing that the participation is now across the Caribbean. It's not just Jamaica anymore. It's not just the Bahamas anymore. You have the smaller islands now punching well above their weight. Imagine St. Lucia having gold in the 100 meters and silver in the 200. I mean, just absolutely incredible for a small place like St. Lucia. In fact, that was St. Lucia's first medal, I'm told, at the Olympics, and it was gold. Dominica's first, and it was gold. So I say kudos to them. I feel very proud as somebody from the region to see how the Caribbean is punching well above its weight. And while we're talking about first, let us not forget that young Troy Nisbet from Nevis is the first ever Olympic swimmer from the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. St. Kitts and Nevis doesn't even have a pool for them to practice in. They're swimming in open ocean, and they're going out there and competing with the world. I mean, just a remarkable story to see young Troy Nisbet. And when he walked out in Paris to swim, and I think he placed 5th in his heats, but just to be there and on the stage representing his country at the Olympics, a youngster from Nevis, just a teenage boy, but the fact that he was the first, I think we must celebrate and we must commend. And so we look forward to great things. I can say to Troy, I know his mom, she beams with pride. His coach, I've watched and observed and applauded them for all that they've been doing. But I think it is time, Troy, that we get a proper pool for the young people in Nevis to practice and to ensure that they're able to develop this sport of swimming. Nevis has been doing quite well, and we started this program that we're very proud of. Initially not so much about competitive swimming, but just to teach persons how to swim. But people have responded positively, and I think that pool needs to be done. And so we will get it done, Troy. We will get it done, because I think we want to see now more swimmers going to the Olympics, more swimmers competing, and you have shown us the way. They say a child shall lead them. He's showing us the way. So thank you for that, young Troy Nisbet. And we say kudos to all from across the Caribbean who have done so remarkably well at the Olympic Games. We're proud of them. Let me also say kudos to all of the winners of the various Culturama shows and Culturama events. From the Mr. Cool to Miss Swimwear, from the talented youth, to, of course, the Miss Culturama competition, the Kaiso competition. I just want to congratulate all of the winners. I believe that they all did remarkably well, and they brought top performances to us. The minister, when he spoke, said that we did have some hiccups in terms of some of the stage management of one or two of the functions, but that was not the contestants' fault. The contestants performed very well, and I want to commend all of them. I was at the Calypso show. It was a ding-dong bacchanal. Everybody had their favorite. But at the end of the day, there could only be one winner, and King Astro emerged as the king for Culturama 50. King Astro last year had said that would be his last, but he came back. Say fans told him to come back and do one more for Culturama 50, and so he came back and he won. I feel so proud of him. I congratulated him privately, but I do so now publicly as well. But I also want to mention Lady Destiny, Tamish Esdale, from right there in Church Ground. She calls me Pops. I call her daughter. That's a private joke. But she performed and came within 3 points of being the first female Calypso monarch of Nevis. And so I commend her, and I commend all, including the perennial warrior, King this and that, Keith Scarborough, MBE, because he too performed excellently to end up in second runner-up position. And so I commend all of them. And of course, the winner of the Calypso show this year walked away with a brand new car. And the winner of the Queen show, Queen Jeffers, Miss Jeffers, she would have walked away with a full scholarship to Monroe College in New York. this year was a big year and we did some big things. And so congratulations to all of the winners. I'm really proud of them and of the level of participation that we saw, both on the stage, backstage, the organizers, Culturama committee chairs, and of course the audience, because without the audience showing up we couldn't have the shows either. And so I feel incredibly proud and incredibly grateful to our people for all that they've done, and I say kudos and congratulations to all of the winners and all who participated, because I think they put on a great show for us. Ladies and gentlemen, this is On The Mark. We have about 6 or 7 minutes left. If you feel in the mood and you want to call, you still can call 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. Those are the numbers if you would like to be in on the show. We still have a few minutes, and so you can still call in and have your voice heard. I got a wonderful message from Georgia in the United States while I was here. Somebody who messaged to tell me that they had such a wonderful experience being on Nevis with family, and commending the island for all that we have been doing. And I feel really good when I hear that, because it means that people have seen with their own eyes, and people know and understand development, and they're commenting favorably. I saw an outpouring of pride, and that for me moves me deeply, because when I heard Nevisians, especially those coming home, and how proud they were. I saw one comment a friend of mine made. She said, I don't care what nobody has to say, because I come back to Nevis often and I can speak to the development that I've seen personally, and I can tell you that I will be coming home to show off my island to those who are visiting. Oh man, that warmed my heart. That made me so happy. The lady says she will be coming home to show off her island to those who are visiting. And that is what I want from us. That we are able to show off our island to those who are here, those who have come. That we are proud of this little island called Nevis. Not as soon as somebody say good morning, instead before you tell them welcome to Nevis, you start to cuss. You start to bring up everything negative that you could think about. And I have repeatedly said that there's some people who seem to hate this island. They are upset. I made the comment of when this American actress Nia Long came here and stayed at the Four Seasons. I did not even know Nia was here until a friend from St. Kitts who lives out in LA reached out to me and said her friend Nia is here. That's how I found out. The government had nothing to do with Nia Long, a famous American actress, being here. And when Nia posted, my heart belongs to Nevis. You can't buy that. You can't buy that. She posted that to her 4 or 5 million followers. I think it's on Instagram. And when I commented that, that made me feel so good. Boy, and happy start to cuss the woman. Said near this and near that and near that. What was Nia Long's sin? She said that she loved Nevis and her heart belongs to Nevis. Man, I'm telling you, that should make every real Nevisian proud. There shouldn't be any room in that for us to be vexed with anybody. That should make any real, you hear the words I'm using? Any real Nevisian proud. And my message to the opposition in Nevis is simple. It's okay to be proud of Nevis. You can't only love Nevis when you're in office, because based on the results of the last elections, it means that you will not love Nevis for about another 20 years. Because you're not getting there no time soon. So you must love Nevis. Whether you're in office or you're out of office, you must love, because Nevis is all that some of us have. All that some of us have. And the attitude that we get from some, where the only conversation they can have is to highlight negativity. And sometimes, and I found it so comical, that when some things just defy, they just can't find something negative to say. they find somebody who had nothing to do with it to praise. I always find that comical. They can't say the Nevis Island administration did this and kudos. No. They find somebody to say, oh, it's this person who did it and it's that person who did it. It's comical. It really is. And so I just want us to love this island. Man, whether you're in office or you're out of office, Nevis is ours. Love Nevis. Don't wish bad on Nevis. Don't pray that some hurricane come to mash up Nevis so you could start to crow and beat your chest. Don't pray at nights that the rain stop so we get water shortage. Love Nevis. Let us work together to build this little island. And if Culturama 50 did anything for us, it showed us the power of coming together. When we see all those families, we saw the smiles, we heard the laughter, saw the people at food fair. Man, it warmed my heart. This is the Nevis that we want. This is the Nevis we aspire to. So let us make it happen. Let us hold hands. Let us put shoulder to shoulder. Let us work together to make it happen. When elections come, we will fight that out and the people will make a decision. But there's no election in the air. I hear some buffoonery about snap election. I've heard of snap peas, but we don't know about snap election. The people have given us a mandate for 5 years. Well, why are we going to snap? We're not snap nothing. We take that mandate seriously. And we're not snapping. We're not snappers. So we take it seriously, and what we are going to do is to serve. And then when the time comes, we go back and we ask the people, could you consider us again based on our record? These are our ideas to move things forward. This is what we have accomplished so far. There's work left to be done. But absent an election, what all this noise is about? What? It is time, brothers and sisters, that we settle down. That we work together. Let the lesson of Culturama 50 and our homecoming celebration be that our people from near and far came together as one Nevis, as an Envision family. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart for coming, for being a part of our celebration. We love you. This is your home. This is your island. And I echo the sentiments from a comment that I made and an open letter that I penned. For those of you who can invest, those of you who can relocate, it is time for you to come home and to take a more active interest in this, the land of your birth or the land of your ancestry. Nevis needs all of you. Thank you, good night, and God bless and keep you.
The views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Nevis Broadcasting Company Limited or its advertisers.
With all the power from the tower, this is the powerhouse of the Eastern Caribbean, VON Radio, from the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis.